Aaliyah, from Queen to Pawn, the demise of Aaliyah Haughton, Part 3. Dame Dash mentions in an interview about how he had a conversation with Jay-Z about Jay working with R. Kelly. The main question to Jay-Z was, how can you work with him knowing what he did to Aaliyah? If she is your friend, then why would you work with him knowing that it would hurt her? Now imagine if this was the conversation. Wouldn't you expect Jay-Z to say, well, how do you think I felt when I was dating the same girl that you're dating now? Did you consider how I must have felt? Or did you even care because Dame is just doing Dame? Now, Dame Dash never says what Hov or Jay-Z has said in response to all of this. Every time he has asked, what did the other person say? He always says, ask him or ask them. Is it because of their pact or oath with each other? There are things that Dame knows that he is not telling concerning Jay-Z and Aaliyah. That's why when Dame said, I didn't mean to fall in love with Aaliyah, it just happened. It just happened because Dame only meant to use her to get to Jay-Z. She was not supposed to be Dame's girlfriend at first, but then he fell in love with her, just like the rest of the other guys that did. Now, at this time, Aaliyah was just 21 when she began dating Dame Dash, and he was 29. Jay-Z was already 31. Now, for Jay-Z, this was the ultimate betrayal, or at the minimum, a crossing of boundaries to him. Why was Aaliyah with his business partner, his supposedly close friend, out of all the guys in the world, the guy who he gets money with, the same guy who she's laying in the bed with now? It used to be him in her bed and chilling in her condo on that white leather couch. But now Aaliyah is in Dane's bed and spending nights at his place. Plus, Jay-Z was probably being questioned privately about how much she knows about him and his secrets by the organizations that he's still affiliated with and heading to this day. With Jay-Z being so competitive with Nas, he wanted to win the battle of who got Aaliyah first. However, I don't think that Jay-Z saw that his battle would be with Dame and not Nas. So at this point, Jay-Z decided to draw the line in the sand. For Aaliyah, she wanted to make a lot of changes to her life. Aaliyah was planning on leaving Black Brown Records 1.0. I'm sure that Barry Hankerson probably was furious at the thought of losing his highest profiled artist. Of course, her cousin, Jomo Hankerson, who is always the one who has his ears to the ground and putting out fires within the company, told his dad about her leaving. Jomo is also a deal maker and a peacemaker. However, if she went to another record company or even began her own, Mr. Barry would no longer reap the rewards of any future work of hers. Plus, it was Jomo who had told his dad, Aaliyah's uncle, that there was a plot against her life. That's why Barry rushed to get a court order against Hype Williams if anything was to happen to her life or her likeness. Barry Hankerson was also said to be very upset at Aaliyah around the time of her death because she made a hefty donation while in the Bahamas to an organization that he did not approve of. Aaliyah was also looking to change her management. Even though she was young, she was a visionary and knew what she wanted to take the lead in her life. Her mother had the title of manager, but she was just a caretaker. She wasn't everywhere her daughter was. She always had a replacement. Miss Diane showed up to board meetings, concerts, and meet and greets, but not most and not all. However, there were plenty of instances in where she wasn't there for Aaliyah physically nor emotionally. There were times where she did not listen to Aaliyah, and Aaliyah was kind of tired of not being listened to or not being heard of by her management. Miss Diane was losing control as well as the trust that her daughter had for her, slowly and surely. Aaliyah was leaning towards focusing on her movie career after her self-titled album. Considering the movies she had already completed before her demise, Queen of the Damned and Romeo Must Die, she had already committed to the other roles such as Sparkle and the Matrix sequels. Her love for singing and creating could also be extended to musicals and soundtracks. She wanted to have complete control over her life, as well as a team that would listen to her and work towards that path that she envisioned for her career. She was not interested in existing in the changing industry where satanic groups, the Illuminati, the Black Boule, MK Ultra, and other groups were taking over the entertainment industry. It was becoming more popular to join these groups that were guaranteeing fame and fortune to young kids and adults in the industry. This is also the time where the black music culture was being changed heavily. She had a lot of knowledge of what was to come. Now imagine being Jay-Z and you having been actively pursuing a young woman for months only to find out that she chooses your business partner. He's not even an artist of any kind. He isn't that popular, probably doesn't have as much game as you do, and he gets your girl. This ego of Jay-Z probably goes a lot deeper than she just choosing someone else. She was most likely binded to be with Jay-Z according to all of those organizations that he's affiliated with. And if so, she decided to change her mind about that on her own and didn't care about who it affected or what anyone had to say because she couldn't get over the betrayal from Jay-Z and him wanting control over her life. So what if she was initially okay with being by his side, not knowing all the sacrifices that had to be made? What if she was eventually asked to sacrifice her mother or her brother or father? Couldn't you just imagine her saying, hell no? This is most likely when she began placing Jay-Z in the friend zone. He was beginning to be too controlling with her like he had in the past with Foxy Brown. Then Dame Dash comes along and seals the nail in the coffin for her without him even knowing that he, Dame Dash, is about to make the ultimate sacrifice himself. All three did. Aaliyah was Jay-Z's queen, and unfortunately, she turned into a pawn into the game. The decision was made. Aaliyah had to go. It was also rumored that Missy and Timbaland knew about the plot on Aaliyah dying in an airplane. This was probably one of the reasons why Missy and Timbaland refused to travel to her or with her by plane because they knew the how, but they did not know the when. It was spoken of behind the scenes, and that's how Jomo Hankerson found out and told his dad because they knew. Fatima was supposed to join them on the flight, but she knew the airplane was changed to a smaller aircraft the day before and changed her arrangements the night before and added Gina Smith from Blackground Records on the flight to take her seat. Fatima said it was a favor to Miss Smith because Miss Smith wanted to go home early for her birthday. Fatima was supposedly the person that was also standing next to Aaliyah when the crew was arguing about the plane being late at the airport, which was around the time when Aaliyah had a bad headache and was saying, I'm not getting on any small plane. So either Fatima gave her the sleeping pill that Aaliyah took, or she saw who gave it to Aaliyah. It's not a coincidence that Fatima took these photos of Aaliyah before she boarded the boat to the airport, and she took a picture of Aaliyah at the airport and in the plane. Why was she the one to create the last memories of Aaliyah? Was it because she knew of Aaliyah's fate to come? Unfortunately, Aaliyah lost her life on Saturday, August 25th, 2001, at the age of 22. She had her funeral in New York on August 31st, 2001. Her friend Maxwell paid for all the expenses because none of the record labels or the record companies that she was signed to had the resources to bring her back to the States. They didn't want to pay for the funeral, and they just dropped the ball in taking care of the artist Aaliyah and the other passengers that were employed by them as well. And that includes her makeup artist, her security guard. They didn't want to pay or give any checks to anyone responsible for making sure that those bodies got back to the States properly or in time. The complete truth may never come to light because most of those who do know are either dead or have all been paid and promoted. My condolences to the families that have lost these loved ones. Thank you.